Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 259 of bulking to 75 kilos, and today is a push day. Now, the muscle soreness of my previous push day still lasted until yesterday, so I've only just recovered, and that's why today I want to talk about exercise rotation, because, even though the soreness is gone today, I'm still a bit tired on those push-ups, and you can use exercise rotation to, basically when you're still tired and you want to train, to train anyway. Of course, you can also take a rest day or two more, right, and let your muscles recover. But if you're anything like me and you want to train every day, right, you love training, then any way that you can still train is a good way to train. So yeah, exercise rotation, you can basically use it in such a way that you're able to train more often, because you rotate the exercise. So basically you do a different exercise than you usually do. And because of that, you can still train the same muscle groups, but you train them in a different way, which is why, today I'll be doing dips instead of push-ups. My push-up strength will still kind of be able to recover because I'm not doing push-ups. But at the same time, I'm getting gains in my chest, my triceps, and my shoulder, which is exactly what I want, However, there is one important thing here. If you're going to rotate exercises, I would say, you have your main exercise, right? Let's say you want to get good at push-ups, just like me. You have your main exercise. Never rotate to an exercise that is easier than the one you are doing. So for me, it's the push-ups. I'm not going to rotate to what else can I do that's easier than a push-up? I guess some tricep dips or something, right? I'm not going to do that because the tricep dip is easier than the push-up. And I'm talking about like a chair dip, It's easier than the push-up, right? And so what happens is you can push yourself in an exercise to like way further than the push-up, because you're able to do more reps, you're able to do more volume, you're just beating yourself down. And then the next time you have to do push-ups again, well, you're far from recovered, right? You're even further from being recovered than last time. But if you do a harder exercise, and it sounds kind of counterintuitive, right? But if you do a harder exercise, so for example, instead of push-ups today, I'll be doing dips with 50 kilos. Because the exercise is harder, you're not doing it with your 100%, but you can still do it quite comfortably, right? You're not able to push yourself to that limit that you are able to do with your usual exercise. This is also the reason I never use really exercise rotation for the planche, because there is no harder exercise than the planche, except for weighted planche. So, you have to be kind of careful with that, because if I were to say like, oh, I'm not fully recovered from the planche yet, let me do some dips, right? These dips are easier than the planche, so I'm gonna be more destroyed than before. That's why, of course, planche, I never rotate, I just do a lighter workout. But for these push-ups, there is plenty of harder exercises that I can focus on to still make some gains and let, the CNS, my central nervous system for the push-up itself, recover. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do today. First off, later on I'll be doing dips, but first off, I'm gonna do some planche workout. And basically, right, I woke up at 75 kilos again, which is nice. It's gonna be my heaviest planche ever. I guess if you don't count the sets from yesterday that I did, like the greasing the group, but whatever, right? It's gonna be my heaviest planche combo. And last time, I was kind of focusing on the form a little bit with the push-ups. Today I wanna do the same, but I am really hoping to get this one combo, which is 5 seconds, 2 push-ups, and then 2 presses. That would be super fucking nice. So let's blast some Linkin Park and get started. Holy shit! That second push-up was fucking intense, but I did it. That's such a high body weight. Holy fucking shit. Whew. The head pressure and shoulder pressure is killing me at the moment, but I'm gonna do a couple more sets here. I generally try and aim for 5 sets of planche. It's not my focus at the moment, but 5 sets are enough to maintain or even get a little bit stronger. So that's what I'm gonna do. Holy shit. I made this self-rule a couple weeks ago, I think, of holding 5 seconds before doing or starting like each combo. I might be fucking myself here, but I think I'm gonna not do that for the next couple sets because I want to do more push-ups. I am gonna do it or keep doing it for the first set of every training for sure, because eventually, imagine I get to 555, that would be insane. But yeah, for now, the remaining sets, I think I'm gonna try and attempt some fast push-ups. Let's, excuse me, see what happens. Alright, I'm gonna do 2 more sets where I just hold the full planche for a little bit, and then I'm gonna do stemmer planche push-ups, like as a finisher, you know. I'm not finishing, pause, sounds weird, but I'm not finishing the workout, I'm finishing the planche part, because after this, of course, moving on to dips, and I've got some big plans there, so let's go. Let's go a bit wider for fun. I can't help myself. Oh shit. Oh, fucking hell. Whew. Let's move on to some dips. Alright, so for dips, if you watched 2 push days ago, I went to my brother's house and did some 50 kilo dips, 5 sets of 10. And I don't know if it's related with the training afterwards when I was doing push-ups. Suddenly the push-ups just, I was able to execute them fast. Proper form, at least not worse than the time before, but still just fast. And you know, I think it's related, I'm not sure, but long story short, I'm gonna do dips again. 50 kilos, just like last time. But I think like as a bit of an in-between goal, a side mission, I'm gonna try and get 10 sets of 10 of those. So, you know, in training, you have, of course, you have your main goals. You have, you know, you want to maybe do a planche hold, or you want to achieve the front lever, whatever you want to do a lot of push-ups and dips. You can also do the side missions, right? Like the goals in between, or the steps towards your goal. So if your goal is to eventually, you know, 200 dips in one training, and right now you're at 20, well, the first side mission or step is to get to 30, you know, or actually 21, and then 22, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100, 150, right? You have these little steps in between, these, you know, these checkpoints, these checkboxes that you can mark off. And, you know, today the dip, trying to get to 10 sets, it's kind of the same thing, you know. Perhaps I'll not get it today, but maybe I'll get it the next time if I don't, right? And then I can check it off, and it's like this base of power, you know. And it's like not a certificate, of course, but it's like this thing that you can tell yourself, like, hey, I fucking did this, you know. And it of course it benefits your main goals as well. So yeah, let's get started. 10 sets of 10 is the goal, 50 kilos, like I mentioned. One set every 3 minutes. So it's gonna be about, I guess, 2.5 minutes of rest in between each set. Jesus Christ, I'm already sweating from just setting this up. Alright, let's go. Feels lighter than last time. Now 9 sets left, and I gotta find a way to not just stand here for 30 minutes with this 40 kilo ball sack. Okay, this was set number 8. It was kind of the minimum goal I had in my mind for today. But like I mentioned on the previous leg day, what if we just don't do the bare minimum, you know? So I could be satisfied with this because yes, it's a PR, but some way or another, we're gonna hit failure today, you know? 10 sets would be so nice. Fuck! How am I gonna do fucking sit number 10? I need to start using the fucking chalk I have. Next time. Today I'll make sure this kind of works. God fucking damn it. What if, boys? What if we can do it? Sometimes that's all that matters. What if? Fuck. It's 8 reps. I'm gonna do a wrist pause. Fuck. Okay, so I was just yapping here for a few minutes and I forgot to record myself, so that's embarrassing, but 98 fucking reps. 2 reps shy from the magical 100. But I'm so fucking satisfied because in my head the minimum was 8 sets. At 8 sets I felt fucking tired, and then I pushed to 9. 9 felt insanely difficult, and I still challenged with the belief of reaching 10 reps on set number 10, you know. And I'm very fucking happy with that. That is like the definition of, you know, succeeding to hit failure, you know, succeeding in failure, which failure in training is a success, you know. So very happy with this. And, you know, some people might say like, Timmy, what the fuck, you know? Timmy, what the fuck? you can do less weight and less reps and just control the reps and pause at the bottom and you're gonna get the same hypertrophy. And maybe you're correct, you know. Science-based stuff, it's great, but it's just not for me all the time, you know. I need to, you know, I have a full-time job. I don't have anything else going on in life, to be honest. But I need to release some stress every now and then, And for me, the training that allows me to do that, the training that allows me to go fucking intense, have my entire body screaming, is fucking horse cocking and ego lifting sometimes. Yes, the form isn't perfect, but in the end, science-based or bro science, right? If you're both pushing yourself, you're gonna make gains. And I'm not saying one is better than the other, because even for me, right, I prefer this style of training where I just aim for numbers and weight and total volume or whatever, right? Aim for PRs. Even if I prefer this style, sometimes I'll be like, well, I kind of want to let my body rest up, and then I do some science-based stuff, and it's lighter for me because I'm less used to it, so it allows my body to recover, especially the joints. But there's just different styles of trainings, So yes, I know for pure hypertrophy, I can do controlled reps, and it's probably even safer, But I also like to get strong. I also like to push the boundaries of seeing what my body is capable of, and it's the most fun way to do that for me is just this. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna lower the weight to 30 kilos. I'm gonna do as many reps as possible, and that's gonna be it for today's training. Last time I got 25 reps with 30 kilos. Today, I want to say 30, but it feels like aiming for the bare minimum, so I'm gonna say 35. I have a feeling I won't be able to do that, but I also can't say for sure. So let's go for that 1% chance, Fuck. No way another hit would have happened. Holy shit. Oh, my legs are shaking. Let's sit down and discuss. Okie dokie, so that's it for today's workout, and let's talk about rotating exercise again after a quick pose down. Oh. Whew. Oh boy, I'm so fucking sweaty. So rotating the exercises, right? Today I did dips, and of course the dips hit shoulders, triceps, chest, and I need the chest for push-ups, but what's important here is, yes, the dips target the chest, but they don't target the chest the way a push-up would, A push-up, it's like this horizontal movement, where a dip is more vertical, so the way you use your chest is different. So today I have my chest, I use my chest. I make my chest able to push heavy shit because I'm doing these dips with 50 kilos, right? So I'm used to heavier stuff. It's gonna come into play when I do push-ups the next workout, but at the same time, I'm not tiring out my chest now, or too much, Of course my chest is tired, but I'm not tiring out my chest too much. Now, if you do want, to do dips for your chest, rather than your triceps, for example, you can just do the dips and pause at the bottom. Go as deep as possible in the dips, because that's where you hit your chest. That's where you're stretching your chest. Go as deep down as possible, wait there for a few seconds, and then push back up. Go back down immediately, wait for a few seconds, go back up. And then you'll fucking feel your chest on fire. It's insane. But, the thing that I did right now is just spamming the dips, just like this, not caring about form. I think in that case, your strong body parts will just take over. So for me, it's mainly the shoulder. I am feeling the triceps immensely as well right now. And yeah, I would say that's a success, because I don't want to destroy my chest for the next time, when I do push-ups. Next time, I'm going to be able to do 500 push-ups, hopefully, or even more, ideally, So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that, although I'm scared already, but nonetheless, today was a success. Very happy with today's workout, and I'll see you tomorrow for a pull day.